Okay guys, just want to make a quick video here about stage. Now I am always talking about stage. At first, when I was younger, I used to think stage didn't matter in Melee, but it is probably the second, other than skill level of course, other than character choice, it is the most important decision you're going to have to make. Either whether you're winning in a tournament or losing in a tournament. If you're winning, you're going to get to ban a stage depending on the rule set, best of 3, best of 5. And if you're losing in a tournament, you're going to get to select what stage you want. So this is going to be my top 6 stages based on my opinion for my characters. Remember, I play Link and Puff. I don't play either of them well, but those are my 2 characters. My favorite stage by far is Yoshi's Story, because I think Yoshi's Story is the best. I don't know if you could see that in my S tier right there, but Yoshi's Story is obviously Puff's best stage. In my last video I dropped, I was making a mistake. I kept confusing Hungrybox and Joshman. I kept thinking Hungrybox was playing Fa. It was obviously, Hungrybox obviously plays Puff. So, it is Puff's best stage. I also think it's Link's best stage. Link could live to really long at this stage. Also, a lot more options to recover to. You could use the chain grab to grab the edges of the stage. The edges of this stage are very long and wide too. There's a lot of room to throw the Link in order to get back on stage. And obviously for Puff could just live longer at this stage than any other stage. So yeah, definitely my favorite stage. Even going back to the original Smash 64. This is the only stage that's allowed. This, I think, is the best stage in the game based on my characters. Even Marth, it's not a bad stage. Yoshi, Yoshi does very well here. Amsa lives very long at this stage. I would say probably Yoshi's best stage, too. I mean, this is all subjective. Yoshi's Island, for example, was always considered Falco's best stage. But then I was talking to some competitive players, and they were like, no, it's not even that good for Falco anymore. And I'm like, what? Are you crazy? So, the strength of stages could change over time and with people's opinions, but, this is just my opinion, obviously, for the stages. Right, so my next favorite stage, I like all these stages. I don't hate any of these stages except for one of them. I'll explain why, even though it is a pretty decent stage for my character. But, right, my next favorite stage is probably Battlefield, the most neutral stage. A lot of times you gentlemen's to Battlefield right at the first match of the tournament. Battlefield is a very balanced stage. It's pretty good for both Puff and Link. Link, you could still recover using the chain on the bottom. It's a little more complex, though. The platform placing is very good. It's just an average stage, middle side. Not bad for Puff. Not a terrible Puff stage either. I would say, every character is pretty much average here. That's why, obviously it's considered the most neutral stage. But I do like Battlefield. I don't really pick back to Battlefield. I much rather, I always pick back to Dreamland. For some reason, people don't ban Dreamland against me when I think, it's clearly Puff's best stage. Sorry, ignore the ridiculous advertisements we're getting on the side here. But, Dreamland is obviously Puff's best stage. I also think it's Link's best stage, but again, that's subjective. So if I was playing myself, I would obviously ban Dreamland every single time. But, not everyone does that, though. Right, so, I would put Battlefield next up for me personally because, it is just a neutral stage. I like neutral stages, no advantages. Again, this all depends on the character I'm playing, but we don't want to get too specific. Right, so I would have Dreamland 1, Battlefield 2. This is going to sound a little weird based on my characters, but I do really like Yoshi's Island. Even though I wouldn't say Yoshi's Island is exactly Puff or Link's one of their best stages or better stages, but I just like the simplicity of it. With Puff, if you're able to land a rest on your opponent, which I am not good at doing, you could take them out pretty early on just because, this is one of the smallest stages, probably the smallest stage. And with Link, if I'm playing Link, if I'm up against a tough Marth, Link Marth is not terrible here, especially if you're playing a more entry-level Marth, someone who doesn't really know what they're doing that well. You could get them with an up B. An up B takes up a good portion of this stage, too. Right, so definitely these are my top 3 stages so far. Again, so if you were to look at look into this, look at the real data, are these Link and Puff's top 3 stages? No, but in my opinion, I'm more comfortable playing at these 3 stages. So again, Stage list is very subjective. You know, even if you could even, like, people who play the same character could even debate this, but these are definitely my top 3. Let's keep moving on here. I do like FD too. You know, normally FD historically is known as Mart's best stage. You know, when you go in tournament, obviously I keep bringing these characters up because you do run into a lot of Marts, a lot of Foxes, a lot of Sheiks. Right, but I actually don't mind FD with Link. You know, we have seen Aklo pull out Link a lot at FD. I think FD's not that bad for Link, and I don't think FD's that bad for Puff either. You know, there's no platforms, but, like, Puff could live a long time, too, at FD. So, yeah, and other than Marth, I'm not really afraid of playing anyone at FD, like Fox at FD, like, or Falco. You know, it's not the worst. Right, so let's keep going. I don't like the 2 remaining stages, personally. You know, I don't like Stadium. I don't know if I should put it in B or F tier. I don't like Stadium. I don't like when it's unfrozen, depending on the tournament you're in. Just throws me off. I'm not good when the stage changes, as stupid as that sounds. And I also think Fox does very well at Stadium. You know, you're always going to run into a good Fox in most tournaments. So I also think Fox does well here. So I try to avoid this. Again, that's subjective too. Some Foxes might say it's not one of Fox's better stages. And I don't think Link specifically does well here at all. And believe it or not, I don't even think Puff does well here because you kind of, like, the sides of the stage is fairly big, but the off stage is not that big. So, like, Puff, you would think lives a long time here, but it really doesn't. Like, it lives much longer at Dreamland. Right, so, you know, I'm not really a huge fan of Stadium. I try to avoid it at all cost. Actually, I'm going to have to put it into my F tier because, you know, I'd much rather be at Battlefield. And my worst stage on the bottom of F tier is FOD. Now, you might be thinking, why FOD? You know, that's actually a decent stage for Link. Maybe even Puff, not so much. But, you know, for Link's not a terrible stage. But I hate FOD. This is going to sound stupid. You know, this is where the subjective aspect comes in. I have trouble seeing at this stage, so I don't have great vision personally. And, you know, there's the weird color combination of purple and, like, black in the background. I don't know why. I have trouble seeing the 2 characters. Like, especially if someone's character is blue or, like, green. You know, I don't know what the official rule set is, if you could X your opponent, like, not to change his character's color, rather. But, yeah, I always try to avoid FOD, because I can't see at this stage. Like, I don't know if I'm getting old or what, but, like, right, like, you have to be able to see very well at this stage because, you know, every input, you know, we're going down to the millisecond here for, like, the best players. But, right, yeah, that's my tier list. Obviously, we're not going to rank any. I do like some of these stages down below, but, you know, those are, you know, not viable. You know, you can't choose those stages. So, yep, that's just my tier list video. I hope everyone's having a good weekend and have fun. Tomorrow's Monday. Back to work. Have a good weekend, everybody.